Welcome back to another episode of the Fifth Quarter Podcast. I'm your host, Marcus Jones, the Bluff City Cowboys, coming to you live from Memphis, Tennessee. And we have a great show for you guys tonight. The training camp is officially opening up tomorrow. But before we get into training camp, we are going to do some pre-training camp talk. I know you guys can expect at the end of training camp, we're going to do a show where we give you our thoughts on the final 53-man roster. So before we get to that point, tonight, we wanted to do some pre-training camp roster talk just so we can get it on record, guys that we think may or may not make it. Also, some of the competitions you guys can expect to look forward to as we go into training camp. So we're going to go through the entire roster, talk about all the positions, and as always, we would love to get your thoughts on any topics that we discuss. And because we got so much going on tonight, had to bring Amanda back with us. So thank you, Amanda, for joining.
Hey, everybody. Good to see y'all. I haven't been on in a little bit. It's been a minute.
Well, I haven't been on in a while either, so that makes two of us.
Man.
All right. So as you guys know, also, when you see Amanda, that means there is going to be a giveaway. So make sure you guys stick with us until the end of the show, and we will be doing a giveaway. And we're going to change it up this time. We're not doing the random drawings. We're going to do trivia questions. So Amanda's chosen a great trivia question. Amanda, honestly, I think that one's too hard.
You think I didn't even know that? Look, I didn't even know that myself.
I have no clue. I think that was too hard. We'll be here all night. So
we'll see.
We're going to get a good trivia question. Amanda's going to give away a great prize, and we're going to do some great Cowboys football talk. But before we get into that, want to make sure that you guys, if you haven't done so already, join the DC4L Facebook groups. A lot of great content going on this time of year. Get you through those next couple of weeks before we really get into football talk. So come over there, join us, find out what's going on at training camp, find out the latest news and notes live as it happens, because the admin team as well as the group are always on top of Cowboys topics. Make sure you also go over to YouTube, find the DC4L YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. And while you're on YouTube, also be sure to find me at Bluff City Cowboys. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so that you will be aware of any future episodes.
And we've still got that giveaway going on. So we get Marcus up to 1,000 subs. And let's say we can get DC for L to 200 because it's still pretty new. So I'm going to drop it down starting for the season. I'll give away a full-size autographed helmet. So let's get Marcus.
Oh, wow.
So Marcus, get him up to 1,000 subs. Let's get DC Frell's YouTube to 200, and then we'll talk. Okay, let's do it.
I don't know. I don't know DC4L's web address, but I'm putting mine in the comments if you guys want to go check it out. Amanda, if you can, get the DC4L link, just put it in for me. All right, guys. So the topic of tonight, pre-training camp roster. We're going to go through every position. We're going to give you our thoughts on some of what we think about that position. What are some of the position battles? And we're also going to talk about what guys we think will or will not make this final team. So, Amanda, would you like to start on offense or defense?
Let's start with offense. It's probably the biggest interesting situations right now, I'd say.
Okay.
So,
all right. So before we get started, let me go through the comments really quick. So we got Frank Martinez Guerrero joining us from Garden City, Kansas. Thank you for tuning in. Kevin Nichols, thank you for joining us. Looks like a new name, so appreciate you tuning in. Got one of our new regulars now and new admin, right, Amanda? Rachel Nians.
Yes.
Yeah. So Rachel Nians, thank you for joining. Hopefully at some point during the season we can get you on camera as well so that you can talk some Cowboys football with us. We got Jeff Pop joining us. Thank you for tuning in. As always, we got Mendoza joining. So Mendoza, thank you for tuning in also. And then we got my guy Jeff tuning in as well. Thank you for tuning in. Once again, this show is fueled by the fans. So we always appreciate you guys' questions and comments. So as we go through the roster spots, please let us know your thoughts. We're going to throw some questions out there for you guys as well. We try to be interactive as possible. And before we get started, Sally Prieto, I know I butchered her last name, so I apologize. She asked the questions, what about CD? Is he going to camp?
Man, I told you that would be the first thing that came up.
Amanda said that right before we went live, that's wide receiver is going to be the topic.
That is the topic. I guess no better place to start at this
Yeah.
point. Let's start. Look, Sally, we're going to go right there. But to answer your question, at the moment, CeeDee Lamb is not at camp. At the moment.
Yeah. So he's not at camp as of now. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with the new collective bargaining rules.
Woo!
But if a player does not show up at camp, he's fined. I believe it's 40,000.
40.
It's 30, 35, 40,000 per day that he's not at camp. And then on top of that, if they miss a game, a preseason game, they're fined the same as if they miss a regular season game. So CeeDee Lamb's 5th-year option is for what, 18 million?
It is.
So
18.
there are 17 games. So that means he's going to be fined roughly $1 million per preseason game that he misses. So based on those facts, I would be extremely shocked if he's not there by the first preseason game.
Well, now, and isn't it okay? So I was reading through the CBA. Now, did I misread? Now, used to, teams could kind of get away with that holdout money. Now, didn't they change that up this year, or did they sign it through that they can't, kind of push that money away?
Yeah.
Isn't that? Yeah.
That was actually changed. So that's another thing. Yep. I see people in the comments are saying Jerry's going to pay that.
He can't.
He can't. That money goes straight to the NFL, and that's correct. Money is put straight into the charitable fund or whatever fund they have for fines. So the team can't forgive it, and Jerry can't pay it. That money has to go directly to the league, and it's going to be taken away from his salary for the year.
You got to think of like when Zeke held out, Jerry did kind of pay that. You look at all these other players, CeeDee doesn't have that luxury.
Right.
So you look at the money that CeeDee Lamb's going to lose. I honestly am not too convinced he won't be at camp tomorrow. I would be shocked if it lasts longer than 10 to 14 days.
Yeah.
I just don't see him throwing that money away.
Right. Now, Kevin Nichols says 88 is going to get that Brinks truck. Now, $1 million is a lot of money. I don't care how much you make.
It is.
Nobody's going to just give up $1 million. And when you look at CeeDee Lamb's earning potential the past 4 years, he's been on a rookie deal. Yeah. So he's only, and I say only because I'll never see this money, but he's only made probably $12 million over the past 4 years.
Yeah.
Plus whatever he gets in jerseys. He doesn't have a lot of commercials. So let's say he's made $20 million. If he misses the entire preseason, he's given up $4 million. That's 20% of his career earnings just to miss a month of football. I don't care how much your contract is or how much you think it's going to be. You're not giving up that much money.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Yeah, no. So I expect him to be here. He may be what they call a hold-in, where he shows up, but he has a back injury or groin,
hamstring,
yeah. Or maybe even he just talks to the coaches and say, you know what, I'm gonna come to practice, I'm gonna come to meetings, but I'm not touching the field without my money. That's a possibility also, but I think he's gonna be here.
I think maybe Monday, Marcus. That's kind of what I'm shooting for, but we'll see. I don't know what Jerry Jones is doing. We can get into that in a minute, but Jerry's really messing up this season. Yeah. He could have signed anybody. I want people to know that. We talked about this last time I was on. Jerry could have done anything.
Right.
Jerry's inability to Jerry not doing anything hurt this team more than had Jerry signed Dak and CeeDee to big contracts.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And Jeff Pop, great comment. You never know. Jerry's paternity trial is over, so now he can focus on being a GM again.
Well,
I mean, you never know what happens behind the scenes that causes people's action. So that could have been a possibility. because we talked
Okay.
about this a couple of weeks ago. Um, when a player signs a contract, whatever money's fully guaranteed, the owner must take that money as a whole and put it into an account that he cannot access anymore. So if you're talking about paying CD $80 million guaranteed, that money
You got
has
it.
to come straight from the Joneses' pockets.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much that paternity suit was for, but I think it was for a lot. Maybe Jerry could have been trying to hold the money off until he sees how much he has to allocate towards that. Well, that's wishful thinking.
We can hope.
Yeah. Didn't you say Jerry has a press conference tomorrow?
He does. Jerry, it was supposed to be moved to like Saturday or Sunday because of the paternity case.
Uh-huh.
And then because it was dismissed yesterday, they
Okay.
moved it again. It is 12:30 Central tomorrow. That's 10:30 Pacific, 1:30 Eastern.
Mm-hmm.
And Jerry's going to come in. It's his state of the team meeting that he does every year from Oxnard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah,
they moved it back. Yeah. He moved it back. Mike Leslie announced it about, I guess, 2 hours ago that they moved it back up.
okay. Yeah. Always good to get that good info live on the show. All right, Amanda, let's go ahead and hop into it. We're going to
All
start
right.
off with the receiver since everybody wants to talk about that. So, got a lot of names here. I don't know how many of them are good or how many are bad. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we got 12 names here. On average, the team keeps about 6. So, you look at the left side. I put these 5 kind of to the side because I feel like these are the ones everybody feels like are guaranteed on the team. Looking on that left side, Amanda, Lamb, Cook, Brooks, Turpin, Tolbert. You see any chance one of these guys doesn't make the roster?
Well, I really okay. I know Tolbert's, supposed to. I guess third year. This is his third year, and it's supposed to be kind of, you would hope he didn't get much action last year, so I guess we'll really see on preseason because I'm hearing I can't pronounce his last name. Flournoy
Flournoy, yeah.
is really really good. I'm hearing that at that little what's it called? That little getaway that Dak does every year with the core. I heard that there was quite a bit of a connection there. So I'm interested to see if Tolbert really does take that next step. Brooks had some really good showing last year, so I think he's definitely in. Turpin's not going anywhere. I think we're going to see him even more utilized in the offense again. And you can't get rid of him because he's your special teams guy, and it kind of gives you an extra position there to wiggle with.
Right.
So I don't know. I think if anyone's at risk, I actually think it would be Tolbert. We'll see.
Okay. This is Tolbert's third year?
Third year.
So yeah, that rookie draft position kind of wears off in year 3. And at that point, that's when teams will make those cuts. So you're probably right. Jalen Brooks, like you said, made some great strides last year. When you look at the first 5 guys, he's the only guy who's a natural X.
Yeah.
Which means he's the big physical receiver who can take a jam and release and get downfield. CD Lamb is an X2, but we use him primarily as a slot. So when you look at these other guys, none of those guys fit what you would consider a traditional X. So if you want to put a guy at the Z position, which is the guy next to the slot who's off the line of scrimmage, so he can't be touched, those are your Brandon Cooks, your Kavontae Turpins, a little bit of your Jalen Tolbert. So if you got 3 guys who are Zs and none of them can play an X, you got to have an X on the field.
Yeah.
Because you can't just you don't want to waste that down, especially with a guy like Cooks, because you want him to get that free release to take advantage of that speed. Yeah, exactly. Like a Dez Bryant type guy, 6'2", 200 pounds, can get physical with a big press corner who likes to jam at the line of scrimmage.
That's really who they'd been comparing Brooks to, was a similar to Dez in his attributes. We just haven't seen it yet. But with Gallup gone, it should give someone the opportunity to really step up. I think it's going to be an interesting battle for the number 3 position, honestly. I think wide receiver 3 is completely open to whoever really shows what they can do at camp.
Yeah. Yeah, especially since we've kind of changed our offensive philosophy. and we're not opposed to using more smaller receivers than years past.
Right.
That opens it up for guys like Jalen Marino Cropper, who's 5'11", or Cam Johnson, or Racy McMath, kind of those shifty speed guys who normally wouldn't have a chance because you got a guy like a Turpin, and we only usually have one of those guys on the roster.
Yeah.
So the only thing that concerns me about Flournoy, and I hear the talk also. Remember back a couple of years ago, we had a guy named David Houston.
Yeah.
Who started week 1 as an undrafted free agent.
And we heard he was going to be great with Dak. You remember he was going to be like super awesome, but got absolutely nothing. I think he was off the team by week 6.
Yeah. When you said that about Dak, and
that's where your mind went.
That's exactly where my mind went. We've heard this story before, and it didn't work out well. But hopefully, Flournoy will be a different story.
Well, what's interesting about this CeeDee Lamb holdout, and I really want to emphasize this, is with CeeDee Lamb not being there, someone's going to have to step up and play first team and get first team reps in camp while CeeDee's not there.
That's a great point.
Someone's really got an opportunity here to make a name for themselves. And I really would like to see someone step up because, Brandon Cooks, this is last year of his contract. We don't know what's going to happen. This is it. Yeah. So we really need to see. So CeeDee, yes, it really sucks that he's not going to be at camp, but he's a veteran. He's been here a long time. Him and Dak have a really wonderful connection, and everybody knows it. So it kind of is a little bit of a benefit that someone's going to get those first team reps, and the coaching staff's going to get to see what they can do on the first team. So we'll see.
Right. It's a big difference between being a guy who's, if you can get open and the quarterback has time, he can find you. And being the first read. Yeah. Some of these guys are going to get a chance to be the first read. So now you get to see, do they have it in them to even be a receiver?
I really hope Mike utilizes this opportunity and he kind of gives them all a little potential to take that, take those first team reps. Because we all know how camp goes. You got first team, second team. It's rare that your second team players are playing with your first team. So I really hope Mike utilizes this moment. He really needs to.
Yeah. So I mean, even like I said before, even if CD shows up, I don't expect to see him on the field a lot without a contract. So
you can't really blame him,
right? You don't want to risk getting hurt.
Yeah.
If you think a contract's coming,
everybody knows what he can do, and that's the thing. CD's really got. There isn't a number. Okay, Brandon Cooks is a really, really strong number 2.
But he never plays in the slot, though.
Right. He's not a CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee's got all the leverage, just like Dak has all the leverage. They both are holding that. They're I almost said something I shouldn't have. Sorry. They're both really holding all the
cards.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it. Sorry. That's all the cards. They've got all the cards right now.
So yeah. So something to look at in training camp, wide receiver position. Who starts off at the slot position, because they're going to get at least a full week of first team runs. So somebody's going to have a chance to solidify a position on the team. And because Lamb isn't here, that means somebody at the bottom of the totem pole gets to move up also and get some reps.
Yeah.
All right. So we brought up Dak a little bit. So let's go to the quarterback position next.
Oh, no.
I don't. Let's go ahead and get it over with.
Y'all don't want to. Marcus he's already worried. He's like, "Oh no, I forget Amanda's here. What's she gonna say?"
Well, I mean, well, I've always had an unwritten rule. I don't talk about Dak on shows because it's too easy and it's too hot button, and it could take a show in a completely different direction because everybody has strong emotions about him. So I normally try not to bring them up, but we're going through positions. Yeah, got to talk about it. One thing I'll say, this position is not going to change. These are the 3 guys we're going to have on the team no matter what. So the only question is, who's going to be number 2 and who's going to be number 3?
No, okay. I have to be careful because I almost said something yet again. I just want to remind everyone that the 3rd round pick was traded for next to nothing for some reason. And it's not just because of Brock Purdy, because you've still got to account for injury. Trey Lance is not the answer. I'm going to call it right now. Cooper Rush is going to beat Trey Lance in camp. It's just going to happen. The only reason that Trey Lance would be number 2 is if Jerry's ego is going to get bruised. That's the only reason, because Cooper Rush is a proven winner on the field. Just putting it out there. So,
yeah. So, let me ask you this question.
Okay.
Dak's not going to play. You brought up the fact about CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
Dak's probably not going to get a lot of snaps either.
Mm-mm.
Especially not in preseason, even with the ones. Do you think the team goes full Trey Lance all offseason / preseason to see what they have? Because he was essentially on the team the entire year last year. And even in blowout games or games that we all predicted to be blowouts, they didn't make him active. Like both Giants games, there's no reason why he shouldn't have been active, because we all
discussed that. Yeah, there was
no
reason.
What that outcome was going to be.
Exactly. There was literally no reason. There were so many games that we were blowing out. After that first game, when we blew New York out, we should have looked at the schedule and said, okay, we're struggling in these types of situations. Let's see what we have with Trey Lance. But the rumor was about 2 weeks ago is Trey Lance is still learning the ropes. How can you be with a team for a year and still be learning the ropes? I can't fathom that.
Yeah, that's kind of concerning.
Yeah, it is. It's really concerning. And if you can't excel in Kyle Shanahan's very, very, very friendly quarterback system, there's a problem. And I know there's injuries. I understand. But Cooper Rush, like I said, he's proven winner. So I think they're going to go Trey Lance just to see what we have. But I think you're going to see. Now, look, if we do not play Dak Prescott at least for a half in the third preseason game with Tyler Guyton and Cooper Beebe as your new lineman, that's going to blow my mind. Camp is not the same as a game. We need that game time rhythm, because playing a team that's really, really good. We're playing the Browns, which is crazy to say really good and Browns in the same sentence, but it's just the way it is. So I would suspect probably Trey Lance first half, Cooper Rush second half, at least the first 2 games. Because you've got to see what Cooper's got out there, too. I mean, we know what he has, yes, but you've got to let him get out there and shake the rust off. It's just part of the game, because they could be called on at any time.
So let me interject, Amanda. Since they've gone to 18 games and they got rid of their 4th preseason game, now teams treat the second game as the dress rehearsal. So the second game would be the game where you see all the starters going into the half.
You think so?
Yeah, that's kind of how they did it last year.
Okay, I don't remember.
Last year, I think our starters may have played a quarter and a half.
I know Dak didn't play one snap, right?
I think Dak played 1 drive in that game.
I didn't think he played any last year. Someone could let us know. I don't remember.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, because I didn't think he played any last preseason.
Well, if he didn't, I don't expect that to change this year either. So there are going to be a lot of snaps available.
I'd like to. I mean, I want to see what we have with Trey Lance either. I guess a little bit. I think people are just really wishing on the Trey, Lance thing, because they're tired of 30 years of failure that they've put on a player who's only been here 8 years shoulder. But hey, we got to see what he's got. So, what do you think they're going to do? You think they're going to play Trey mostly?
Yeah, I think they have to. I mean, we used a 4th round pick on him. We don't know what he is. He didn't play at all last year. I mean, if he played a little bit last year, maybe okay. But we didn't see him on the field, none whatsoever. You cannot go into another season with a guy who's possibly going to be due $15 million next year, and you don't see him in preseason. And if they follow suit like they did last year, he's your 3rd inactive quarterback for the entire year. So the time is now. Well, the time is now to see what you have. And I keep seeing people say use him for trade bait. I mean, that's another possible option. I don't see it as much.
I think last year was the perfect opportunity for trade bait to Minnesota, and we didn't bite then.
Right.
Like because they went down Kirk Cousins, and they went down their backup too, and they traded for Jacoby Brissett from Arizona.
Yeah.
And he didn't do much there, but that was right at the trade deadline. We probably could have gotten a 3rd back because they were desperate, but Jerry wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, even going into the offseason before the draft, Minnesota had no quarterbacks.
Nobody.
New England had no quarterbacks. The Falcons had just given up on their quarterback. Pittsburgh gave up on their quarterback. So that's like 4 teams who had no quarterback going into the draft. If we would have got Trey Lance some reps last year and people still held on to that first round cachet, we could have probably got something back for him before the draft came. I mean, the Steelers gave up a 5th round pick for Justin Fields before the draft. We could have probably done the same thing.
I'd have rather had him in our. Never mind. I like Justin Fields. I just don't think he had the right opportunity in Chicago. I think he's got the ability. I just don't think he had the right team. They weren't running the right thing for him. So
I agree. Yeah. So before we move on, had a lot of new people join us and make comments. So Kevin Nichols, thank you for joining. James Bryant, appreciate you tuning in. Sean Pope, thank you for joining us as well. And if you guys want to be involved in the conversation, I see the views are still going up. So just let us know if you guys have any questions or comments or any topics you want us to discuss tonight. And yeah, I thought he did play at least one drive too, Jeff, but I could be wrong. And Jeff Pop says he looked it up on NFL. Dak has not played a preseason game since 2019. I don't know if that's true or not, but if you looked it up, Jeff Pop, I'll take your word for it. I can't remember not seeing Dak on the field at all during a preseason game.
Well, 2020 was the COVID year.
Yeah.
2021 was the signing, coming back from injury. He didn't play. Then he hurt his thumb.
Yeah, you might be right then, Jeff.
So I think they were just babying him. I want to think they were. Kellen was also pretty big on sitting starters. I want to say CD didn't even play a snap last year. I don't know.
I'm confident he didn't play a snap. I will remember that.
Let's see.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Jeff Pop because he was on the right track.
I'm with
you.
That's
what I thought too.
All right, guys. So let's keep the show going on. We just talked about quarterbacks. Let's go to another hot button position on the offensive side of the ball, and that will be the running back position. Now, this position is full of question marks. I think if we were to do a poll of the chat, we will probably get about 50 different answers on who we think will be the running backs on the field week 1. So Amanda, start with you.
Well,
who do you think? 2 questions. Number 1, how many running backs do you think we keep? And number 2, who are those running backs? Because most teams normally keep 4. This team has a very strong tendency to only keep 3. So let me get your thoughts.
Okay, so it's obviously going to be running back by committee. That's the obvious point. My biggest concern is Zeke and Rico are so similar in how they run. They're the bigger. I know Rico's not super big, but they're the bigger size to me.
Rico's pretty big.
He is. Someone got so mad at me because I said I compared him to Zeke. Zeke's much more powerful than Rico.
Yeah.
But the issue with this is I don't see Deuce Vaughn's too small. The nepotism needs to leave. I'm sorry. That was okay. I'll stop. But having Rico and Zeke, you have no speed. Okay. It's just not there. Rico, they both have a little bit of wheels, but they're not that fast.
Yeah.
You've got Nathaniel P. I think he runs a 4.5.
He runs a 4.3.
4.3. Okay,
yes.
I was worse than 4.3. So he's quite fast.
He's the only speed guy we got. Yeah.
Freeman's going to be a camp body. Lupke we might keep just because he's technically a fullback. We might see him.
Special teams.
Malik Davis, I think he's going to be on your practice squad, but I think it'll be Zeke, Rico, and Pete. Okay. That would be my guess. Davis will go practice squad like last year. So
okay. I'm completely torn on this one. Like I have no clue. Of course, Zeke's gonna be here. I really think Pete's gonna make the team because, like you said, Snoop Connor, Royce Freeman, Malik Davis, they're all basically Zeke clones, less talented versions. Yeah. They're all about 220, 225. Right now, Zeke's probably a 4.5 runner. They're 4.5 runners. Not a lot of wiggle. Zeke's still great in the receiving game, These guys don't have it at all. Um, I think Rico, as kind of the um the incumbent, has a bit of a advantage over these other guys. But like you said, like I said before, Pete is the only guy with speed, and he's about 210, 212. I feel like he's gonna have some opportunities in the preseason to do enough to make this roster. Uh, I think I think we may keep 4. Um, I think Rico's gonna be the second guy. I think Pete's gonna be the third, but it's gonna be kind of a, if Zeke's healthy, Pete's gonna get more snaps. But if Zeke gets hurt, Rico's gonna leapfrog him and be the starter. So Zeke, Dowdle, Pete, and then just because of special teams purposes, I think Lupke will probably make it, and Lupke or Freeman. If they look for Freeman to provide something offensively, which I think he can, I think he could be the fourth guy. If not, it'll be Lupke, but the other one's going to be on the practice squad. Possibly both of them. You never know.
I want to say that I do think if Steele can return to form before the injury, I really think, a lot of the issue last year came down to the line. And I know your running game is only as successful as your offensive line. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. If you do not have a successful and pretty strong line, you're not really going to get very far because you're not opening up holes. Yeah. I think Cooper Beebe is going to come in and shock a lot of people at center. I like Hoffman. I think it's going to be a really good camp battle to see who ends up at center. But either of them are very, very good in the run game. I've watched some tape, and I know it's crazy. Amanda actually did a little research. I watched some tape, and I'm really impressed with Beebe's run game ability. He made some really nice holes. And if you think about it, the reason Deuce found success in Kansas,
yes,
Beebe was on the line.
Great point, Amanda. People don't even think about that.
So you think about that aspect alone, and I think that our running game will improve, but not really because the position itself improved, but because the line that's making holes for the position improves. So that's where I'm at with that. And the whole Zeke thing is kind of ridiculous to me. I understand everyone. I think that was a shut everybody up move. I really think that's why we brought Zeke back. It's kind of like a last ride for Dak and Zeke just at this point. But I'd like to see Elliott somewhat return to himself. I do think, okay, so let's see, what game was that Tony Pollard couldn't even get the ball over the goal line? There was a lot, but there was one in particular where
game
he didn't
2
reach.
or 3. It was
he
game
didn't even reach. He like just fell over. Yeah. And I think that right there, Zeke's a bulldozer. He's very much in the end zone type of guy. So I think that's going to get better when it comes to, I think we're going to we talked about this earlier, Marcus. I think, what was it? We had 8 rushing touchdowns last year, and total, of them, 2 minimum, were to your quarterback. Dak had 2 minimum on that. I think there maybe have been 3. I need to check the numbers. So I look at that, and I think that we're going to go up to 13 to 17 in rushing. I think touchdown wise, I think that's going to improve our goal line game, because we didn't have that. We really kind of had to play around with a lot of formations in the red zone because our running game wasn't successful multiple times. So I do think it improves, but I really think Pete could shock a lot of people. So what's that?
I was just going through the comments. Jason Curtis, thank you for joining us. Rachel Nians and Jeff Pop kind of going back and forth about Zeke. Rachel said he's gonna go all out because he has a lot to prove, and Jeff Pop says he has no all out left. So
Jeff's snarky. I like Jeff a lot. I see him in the group all the time. Jeff, you're a snarky dude, man. I like it. So
I remember going back, looking at the first 4 games of the year last year. Pollard left about 5 rushing touchdowns on the table inside the red zone that we had to kick field goals on. Zeke converts all of those.
Yeah, he does.
So I just feel like that alone is gonna make the difference in the touchdowns. And then Pollard had 6 and Rico had 2 in very, very limited snaps. So I could easily see Rico getting more snaps, taking his rushing number up to 5. So
I
you're
can see
talking about
that.
11 right there. And then you add in whatever your number 3 back gives you. I mean, I think Zeke's getting double-digit touchdowns this year easy.
I mean, it
I don't
would.
think the rushing yards are going to be there, but I think the touchdowns will be.
Well, just because if you can find someone who's great between the 20s, you've got a wonderful red zone running back.
Uh-huh.
You've got with Zeke, and that's what I know that's but you're right. I think that I don't know if Rico's the guy you're gonna, ground and pound. You know what I mean? Like you're. I don't think that's him. I like Rico. Don't get me wrong, but he's been
Yeah.
in the league a really long time and hasn't really done much for a reason. I know he's been a backup a lot, but that's why I really hope Pete works out because we need the speed aspect. That
Mhm.
person who can get out on the edge and just wheel it and take off down the field, like
Yeah.
2016 Zeke.
Yeah. And people bring a lot of great points. Just bring up one other factor to consider. The offensive line is going full inside zone this year. So for you guys to understand football, this is your tackle box right here where my 2 hands are. What we normally run is an outside zone, which means the run is going to go right here, and then the running back kind of work his way in. What we're doing now, if this is the outside box, we're right here as soon as the ball snap. So that's going to work to the advantage of your Zekes and your Ricos and your Freemans and your Snoop Connors if they get snaps. And then you add on to that the reason why I don't think Tyler Smith will ever go back to tackle. Inside zone is made for a power running game from guard to guard. So if you want to have an inside zone team, you now just put an all pro at left guard, you put an all pro at right guard, and then you add a center who, while he didn't play center in college, he was arguably one of the best run blocking linemen in football. So even if he's learning the center position, he still remembers how to run block. So that alone means you're going to get a lot of push up front, which I know people are saying like Zeke only had 3 yards of carry or what have you. That was in an outside zone scheme. Zeke's not an outside zone back anymore. We said this 4 years ago. Zeke's a power back.
Right. And
this
let's
new scheme
remember
fits that.
And let's remember too, Zeke played behind Stevenson. So he wasn't their number 1 in New England. He played behind Ramondre. So on that aspect, I know you only can see when he did do very well the last few games that Stevenson was hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So he's still got the ability, but you don't need him to be super, fast right now. You need him to get the ball to where it needs to go. He was always consistent for 3 to 5 yards. Like think about it, your third and 3, get the ball to Zeke. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, and oddly enough, Zeke was used as the third down back in New England. He had like 43 receptions.
Yeah.
And Zeke and Jeff Pop, great point. Zeke has no breakaway speed, but I don't think he's going to be breaking any 40-yard runs, but I think he's going to get a lot of 5 and 6 yard runs, which when you average it all out, I think it's going to end up being a pretty good average. And great point, Kevin Nichols. The Patriots' offensive line wasn't that good, and they had no quarterback threat.
None.
So a lot of stuff worked against Zeke in New England. And when he was last here in Dallas, we were running an outside zone, and he just doesn't fit that running scheme anymore. The new running scheme is going to help him out tremendously. I think it's going to add at least 1 yard per carry to his average. So that'll get him close to 4. And if he gets 200 carries, 180 to 200 carries, that's a solid 750 to 800 yards rushing. And while I just brought that up, let me ask you guys this question. I ask you, Amanda. Last year as a team, we had 1,200 rushing yards. Pollard had 1,000, and Rico had about 240-ish.
Yeah.
Do you think, not Zeke, but the running game as a whole, over under the rushing yards we had last year? Let me know what you guys think. And Jeff Pop says, Jeff Pop has him at 500 yards, maybe 10 touchdowns. I think you're underselling them, Jeff. I
Yeah,
mean,
he had 759 last year
as a backup, right?
behind a terrible line. Marcus is going to look. I know it was 700 something. I might be misremembering, but I almost swore it was 700
Yeah, because
plus.
I think he had 642.
Okay, so it was 6-4. I was close.
But he had
Close
50.
enough.
He had 51 receptions for 400 yards.
Okay.
So he was a third down back last year. He was a 51 reception back. He didn't get a lot of carries.
Yeah, I do. I think we're going to go over, and that's because I really do think that someone. I have my opinion on the running back position and who's going to surprise us. Yes, but I think that there's going to be a player that comes out that kind of shocks us. At least maybe it's wishful thinking because the running back position is so messed up.
Yeah.
But I do think it's going to be higher than last year because Mike likes to run the ball. We just didn't really have the ability to make much happen last year. Mike isn't afraid to run the ball. This isn't Kellen Moore, which is great because Kellen's in Philly with a running quarterback. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yeah, Jeff Pop, he averaged 3.5 yards a carry last year. He's averaged at least 3.5 yards a carry every year of his career. His last year in Dallas, he was at 3.8. Last year was at 3.5. And again, his last year in Dallas, we all saw he lost a step.
Yeah.
We were in an outside zone scheme. Our center was what's his name?
Tyler
Biotish.
Biotish.
And the left guard was that Connor Williams last year?
No,
No.
last year was left guard was
2
Tyler
years ago.
Smith.
2
2 years
ago.
ago was Connor Williams.
Connor Williams, right.
Right.
So he was running behind Connor Williams.
Because Tyler played a lot at left tackle because of Tyron's injury.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. So now you bring him in a scheme that fits a power back, and you play him running behind an all-pro left guard and an all-pro right guard and a center who's great at run blocking. I'm not expecting Zeke to shock the world and get 1,000 yards, but I think him getting 100 yards more than he got in New England, which will put him at 742, I think that's reasonable.
I can see that, yeah.
And like I said on last year's show around this time of year, I know we expect the starting running back to do a lot, but what made our running game special was we had a true two-headed monster. So we need to get a lot more from our number 2 back, because this is a league where you have to have 2 solid backs outside of 5 or 6 teams. Yeah, they do need to pay CD already. Thank you for joining us, Steve Franco. Jeff Pop saying he signed Zeke to sell the number 15 jersey. I don't disagree with that, Jeff Pop. Don't disagree at all.
Yeah, they moved Trey Lance off that number real quick, didn't they?
Real quick, yeah.
Real quick.
Ice Cold Cowboy saying we're drafting a running back in next year's draft. There are 2 running backs in next year's draft I really, really like if we're picking at the end of the draft. So I wouldn't be shocked to see that, but let's see how this year plays out at some other key positions, because I had this talk in our group chat earlier today. Next year, we could be looking at doomsday in a bad way.
Really, really bad.
If
I don't think people realize how bad it's going to be if we don't get some people locked in.
Yeah. If Dak does not sign a contract this year, there is no reason for him to sign a contract next offseason, because he knows once the season's over with, in 1 month, he's going to be a free agent and can take visits. So I think we have to get that done now if we want him. If not, Dak's going to be an unrestricted free agent. If we don't sign CD Lamb, Lamb's going to be signed to a franchise tag, which he does not have to sign. And he probably won't sign it at worst until week 6 of the season, at best week 1. We won't see Lamb at all next year because they can't find him.
Zach Martin,
Zach Martin,
Lawrence, Micah Parsons, who will hold out next year.
Micah Parsons definitely holding out.
Bad. Marcus broke all this down, so he broke. We have a big group chat for the admin team, and we all talk a lot about football, obviously. But It's really bad. Jerry, I don't know what Jerry's doing, because if we don't get your two main positions with CD and Dak locked down, everyone needs to be prepared for another run between Troy Aikman and Tony Romo, because that's really where the team's kind of sliding into.
Yeah. And like Steve Franco said, Zach Martin,
Yeah.
If Jerry's not paying him what he wants, he's going to retire or he's going to go somewhere else, and we're going to see him in another jersey. Same thing for DeMarcus Lawrence. Osa is in the last year of his deal. Definitely our best defensive tackle right now. Amanda brought up earlier in the show, Brandon Cooks is going to be gone. Zeke's going to be gone. I mean, whatever
Rico's
starting
on a 1 year. Rico's on a 1 year. Yeah.
Starting linebacker is going to be gone. Sam Williams going to be in year 4. He's going to be wanting a new contract. Who else am I missing? Tyler Smith will be due a new contract.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll be a little bit more quiet because he's an offensive lineman, but that's another one you have to consider. It could be a lot of negative chatter coming out of Dallas next year if we don't get some of this stuff taken
Won't
care
Jake
of right
Ferguson be in a contract here too?
now.
I didn't even think about that. Jake
this will be
Ferguson
year 3.
and Hendershot, both of them.
That's right. This will be year 3 for Jake Ferguson also. So he could be.
Yikes.
He won't have any leverage, but he'll be due for a new contract, and he can kind of chatter a little bit. So it's going to be an interesting offseason. And Bland also.
Oh, man. Yeah, wow.
So we got a lot of guys who are going to have some opportunities to do a lot of talking in the offseason or not be here. And somebody made a comment about nobody's going to want Dak. I think that's what you meant, Jason Curtis. So I'll just ask you the question, Jason Curtis. Do you think the Saints will want Dak? Do you think the Raiders will want Dak? Do you think the Cardinals? That was my next one. Do you think the Cardinals want Dak more than Kyler Murray?
The Rams are about to need a quarterback. I mean, the list goes on. The Patriots need a quarterback. I mean, they've drafted people, but they're just, and people are like, you see the money. First of all, Dak was literally second in MVP voting last year. Dak Prescott led the league in touchdowns. Like, y'all look at the turnovers. Okay, he was one of the least amount of turnovers last year. One off year does not negate a whole career. Dak Prescott will be wanted next year if we don't lock him down. Everybody
Seattle doesn't have a quarterback. The Steelers are patchworking quarterbacks.
Yeah.
That's just low totem pole. Would the Dolphins rather pay Dak Prescott or Tua Tagovailoa, who's had 15 concussions and is one big hit away from retiring? We thought he was going to retire 2 years ago.
We did.
And now he wants $60 million. Who do you think the Dolphins would rather pay? There's going to be some suitors.
Yeah, and like what Jeff Pop just said, he brought up, I'm going to highlight this. Look, Jordan Love is literally discussing sitting out of camp. And it's not about the money anymore. It's whoever's due the next contract. That's how it works. It's not about skill set. Trevor Lawrence, who's never won a playoff game, right? Never won, or did he beat Justin Herbert? Maybe he's won one.
Who is that?
Know. Just Trevor Lawrence. Has he won a playoff game? I don't think. If he has, it's one. I don't think.
Yeah,
he's won.
Yeah. The comeback game
Chargers,
against the Chargers. Right?
Yeah. Okay, he beat the Chargers. That's his exact. He's the highest paid quarterback. Then you have Justin Herbert, who's never won a playoff game.
Yep.
I mean, you look at, it's not about skill set anymore in the quarterback. It's whoever's due the next contract. If you think Dak Prescott isn't going to get 60 to 65 somewhere else, you're absolutely crazy. And then if you think Trey Lance is going to play for anything less than 30 because he's your starting quarterback, it's not going to happen. We owe him money too. Yeah. It's just not going to work. So sorry, I'll get off my rant soapbox there.
Yeah. Whatever. What's the quarterback in Tampa?
Baker Mayfield.
Whatever Baker Mayfield got, or whatever Geno Smith got, if Trey Lance is our starting quarterback, you can expect the number to be higher than that. I don't know what those numbers are off the top of my head.
40, 35, or 40. Geno, I think made 37.
Whatever that number is, that's what Trey Lance is going to get if he's our starting quarterback next year. So you just think about that. I'm not saying if it's right or wrong. I'm just here to put the questions out there.
It's a good question, though. People don't like to, when you think about it, they just think about Dak's inability to win in the playoffs. And
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, I don't like it either. But, football's a team sport. So you got to look at what the best thing for the team is. And you're still going to have to pay a quarterback some big money next year. So do you want someone who can at least get you to the playoffs year after year and give you a chance? Or do you want an unproven guy who you really don't know what you're getting?
So Stephen Franco asked the question, which combo would you rather want, Dak and Lamb or Parsons and Lamb? It's
Oh
a
my
good
goodness.
question.
It's a great question. Marcus, do you want me to go or you want to go first?
Please go.
Okay. Okay. Coach Parsons, if you are listening to this, I am so very, very sorry for what's about to come out of my mouth. I love Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons is a generational talent. Generational talent. But I would want Dak and Lamb because you can find, for the money and the ransom you could get for a Micah Parsons, you could find two people who could be one Micah Parsons. And I know that's terrible. I know probably people don't agree, but I would take Dak and Lamb over Parsons and Lamb because someone's got to throw the ball to Lamb to make him have any success.
Yeah.
So
if I was looking at it solely from a financial perspective, I would probably go Parsons and Lamb, only because the money that you would save by not having Dak, you could probably add 3 or 4 players. But if I'm just going talent and team needs, it's Dak and Lamb 100%, because great pass rushers don't win you playoff games. As much as we want to think that those guys, they're great players, but they're not winning you playoff games and Super Bowls. Those are being won on the offensive side of the ball.
that's right.
And you have your best chances when you have an all-pro quarterback and wide receiver as a combination. Great question.
That's a really good question. Nice.
Okay, so I think we pretty much exhausted our Dak talk for the day. So
Are we moving?
Let's go ahead and move on to. We still got 2 more offense. We still got a bunch of offensive positions to cover. So
y'all, this is why when Marcus gets me on the show, he probably wipes about 2 hours of his calendar.
No, I mean when you bring up the name Dak Prescott, that automatically takes away an hour from any show. That's no matter when it's brought up. We could be talking about anything else. Once Dak name gets brought up, there's an hour gone. So since we spent that much time on Dak, we're going to combine offensive line as a whole instead of going position by position. Let's start at the tackle spot. Well, let's start at center.
Okay.
I think we pretty much know Hoffman and Beebe are the guys, and Shepley has no chance of making the roster.
Yeah, I don't.
When you look at guard, I think we can.
Chuma and Zach would be really who I kind of think would be your guard. I mean, Tyler Smith. Oh, he's on. Wait.
I apologize. I still haven't listed as a tackle, but he's a guard.
Look, Marcus over here was making these quick. You can tell. Okay, so let's guard Tyler Smith and Zach are your starting left and right guard. I think Chuma is your swing. I think because he's really like a Swiss Army knife. He can kind of come in and fill multiple positions. So I think you would, because Chuma played tackle last year. I mean, he played several snaps at tackle, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he started at tackle for New England before he came here.
That's what I thought. Okay, so I really think that I think Chuma will stay. I don't know much about Bass. Isn't that the one who? Okay, I don't want to bring that up.
Bass is really good. He's
from.
He was from Oregon. He was from Oregon. He played tackle in college. Really good run blocker. Short arms. He went undrafted because his arms are abnormally short for his size. He's like 6'4", but he probably has like the wingspan of a 6-foot player. Great feet, strong. So he had to move to guard. And when he played, like Roderick Atwood said, he was a dog out there. He could, if given a chance, I think he could be a quality starting NFL guard.
Yeah.
He just has extremely short arms. So I think the guard spots are a lock. Bass, Edoga, Martin, Tyler Smith. So now we got to go to the tackle spots. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 7 guys. Scratch out Tyler Smith. Of these 7, we'll probably keep 4, 5 at the most. So looking at these tackles, Amanda, what are you thinking? We know Guyton's going to be here.
Guyton,
We know Steele's going to be here.
Steele, those are your starters,
Okay.
without a doubt.
I think Richards is going to be here.
I think
Second
so
year of his
too.
rookie deal.
He played last year some, wasn't terrible. I'm not a big Josh Ball fan. I just don't like him. I
Is it
know
the
that.
DV stuff or talent or both?
Yes, because I'm just so tired of us finding people that are kind of like, got some history and they get in trouble. It's just something about it. But I'm not a Ball fan. And honestly, I also don't like his footwork. And when he has played, he does not open up holes. So his fists are good for other things besides football. What? What? Okay,
Not
if
in a good
anyone
way.
doesn't know, I threw a fit when we drafted that dude. He's got some history with some issues with women, so we'll just say that. And I don't know. I've heard good things about Bostic. I think it's his last name. I've not seen any film, so I'm not familiar. But I've heard good things about him. So, and with Let's Go, I mean, he's okay. It's really kind of up in the air. Camp's going to really dictate where a lot of these people are because some of them are coming in. There's so many opportunities this year for players to really make names of it all around, like everywhere, even on the defensive side of the ball. There's a lot of room for people to find their way onto the 53-man roster just because of what we lost during the offseason. So I'm interested to see how it plays out. But I want to see Bostic. I think he's supposed to be pretty good. So
So Roger Atwood brought up the late round pick, Nathan Thomas. I personally think he's going to get moved to guard. They may give him a shot at tackle. I think he's probably going to be a guard project who never touches the field, but they're going to try to develop him on the roster. So I would take him out of the tackle spot. That's just me personally. So you got Steele, you got Richards, you got Guyton. Josh Ball looks like Frankenstein to me. He's just stomp his feet, arms straight out. He gives you nothing. I think Matt Walesko is going to surprise some people this year. Super athletic. I give athletic tackles a pass because there's just not a lot of guys on this earth who are 6'7" with a 7-foot wingspan and great feet. That's Matt Walesko. Whether he's done something good or bad on the field, the guy is a rare athlete at tackle, and he suffered tremendously from having 2 bad shoulders. Now, according to reports, those shoulders were from like genetic birth defects. And apparently he's supposed to have had surgery to repair both shoulders. So this will be the first year that he comes in where he's supposed to be healthy, and those shoulder injuries that's followed him his whole life should be repaired. So we just got to see. Kevin Nicholson might be his last season. Yeah, he gets one chance. He gets one chance to show what he can do. And you brought up Earl Bostic Jr. Earl Bostic Jr. was an undrafted free agent out of Kansas last year. Another one of those freak athlete tackles that 6'6", 312, 6'10" wingspan.
wow.
Great feet. I think he played some tight end before he got converted to tackle. I think he ran a sub 540. Just a freak athlete type guy who was just extremely raw coming out of college and played for a terrible team. And he got hurt last year also, so we didn't get to see him. So now we don't know what we have in him. So we have two, in my opinion, two freak athletes at tackle who are gonna get a chance to show what they're worth. And I agree. I think Josh Ball's gonna be on the short end. I think that competition between Bostic, Willetsko, and Richards is gonna be very interesting because I know Richards was a draft pick, and I like Richards a lot. He has great position flex, but Willetsko and Bostic are freaks. And when you have freak tackles, you don't just let those guys walk out the door because somebody will find a way to use them.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a great matchup at that tackle spot, especially on those second and third units. Ball could probably just not even show up to training camp, to be honest, unless Bostic and Willetsko get hurt again.
It's really, really nice to have some depth on the line, to have options, because if you think about it, recently our options have been limited, and I have to give the team I have to give them their due on that, because they really have built up some depth, and it's going to be a really good competition this year, I think, for several key spots, especially second string.
Yeah, I'm expecting. I know we've had a history of not winning a lot of games, and in the preseason, and that's come down a lot to a bad offensive line play. I think this year we're going to see the best backup offensive line we've seen in Dallas for a while, because Hoffman or Beebe is going to be your backup center with your second unit.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, Bass could probably start for a couple of teams if given a chance. And then you got these rookies, and then you got these two freak tackles that I'm talking about. And you could slide a Sim Richards in as a tackle or as a guard, or Nate Thomas as a guard. That second unit's going to be tough. The third unit's going to be pretty good. So it's going to be some tough battles to win those spots, I think. And it's going to make some running backs who aren't that good look really good in the offseason, in the preseason, because a team with a good offense on the second unit will always beat a second unit defense. Yeah. All right, so Amanda, we got one more position to talk about on offense. We're at an hour and 3 minutes. Do we want to cut short and save defense for next week, or do you want to?
I don't mind. I have the time. If you have the time, I don't mind. Go ahead and push in through it. We're off the offense. It shouldn't be as heated. I told you it's going to be heated talking about the offense. So we probably won't spend as much time defensively, because there's really not as many true position.
There's only one position I can see that may cause some debate. So tight end. I think tight end may have a little bit of discussion in the comments. So guys, when you look at this, we all know Schoonmaker was a bad draft pick, but he was a second round pick. He's going to be here.
Marcus, let's imagine if they cut him because someone's played so well and they finally admit they're stupid.
I would be upset, but I would not have a problem with that.
Send him to the Chargers and let him play with his old coach.
Oh, you mean the
Chargers?
No, the Eagles. No, he got cut from the Chargers in 1 year.
No, but in Michigan.
You're talking about. Oh, okay.
I can't think of his name right now.
You're talking about Harbaugh.
Yeah, isn't that his old coach?
That is his old coach. You're right.
I wonder if, maybe make a little trade bait. Maybe he can do something well, because they're kind of short. They've got Gerald Everett. I think that, I don't know if they traded him, but I think that's who they have. They're running as number one, and that should be, or is it JC Everett? Everett, I think is his last name. Was their last. They don't really have anyone at tight end unless they drafted someone. But Schoonmaker could go to Harbaugh and get somebody.
No, they didn't.
You got to be able to
draft the tight end this year.
I didn't think so. See,
yeah.
I'm a problem solver. Jerry should hire me, and I could fix things.
Yeah. They did sign Hayden Hurst, former first round pick from the Falcons, but I mean, another injury prone guy who's living off first round position. So that would be a great call to make. But if they don't, he's going to be here. I think we're probably only going to keep 4 tackles. I mean, 4 tight ends.
Agreed.
So 2 spots are already taken. I think you can pretty much pencil in Peyton Hendershot as the 3rd spot. So
I
now that leaves us with 4 tight ends.
I think John Stevens Jr. is really going to take Hendershot's job. I really do. That's my guess. I
So
don't
you
know if
so
it'll
you think
happen.
Hendershot's on the cut block?
I do. I really do.
Okay.
I mean, he's injury prone. Think about he really is an injury prone guy. You need stability in that tight end room because if Ferguson goes down, you have nobody. So again, someone's going to get the opportunity because Hendershot's this is his 3rd year. He's definitely cuttable.
Yeah.
So I do. I think Hendershot's on the chopping block.
Spicy take. Fan base won't like hearing that, but I agree with you. Princeton Fant is another guy in the John Stevens role, kind of just a move tight end, doesn't give you a lot. Alec Holler is a undrafted guy from this year. I don't see it. If we have to make any early cuts, he'll probably be one of the first ones to go. And then you got the interesting one in Brevin Spann-Ford.
Yes.
Super athletic guy, can block like a tackle, good movements, looks like a traditional 3-down tight end. Still don't know why he was undrafted.
Remind you of a Kelsey?
And, I would
I've
probably
seen that in the
say
group.
you've seen people compare him to Kelsey.
I have. I've seen him compared to Kelsey, and
Ugh.
then someone said Gronk, which I don't know. I mean, I don't know the guy. That's why I'm asking. Who would you compare him to
I would.
right now that's active?
Active. I would probably
Yep.
say Gronk is a good comparison.
Okay.
He's not as athletic as Kelsey or Gronk, but if you're giving me those two as comparisons, I would say he's more Gronk. But Gronk is like a 1, and Brevin Spann-Ford is like a 7. If Gronk is 1 and you're trying to get up there, he may be on the same attributes, but they're in completely different tiers.
Jeff, I really hope he's faster than Jason Witten. I love Jason Witten. Come on now, but we all know Jason was kind of slow. It's the fun joke of the day.
Yeah,
I would like to see Spanford if he's got the ability to. I mean, that's one of my friends from the weather. David Bain he's joining us from Scotland.
Oh.
So yeah,
Got a guy from
he works weather radar with some storm chasers that I work with. So
Okay.
thanks for tuning in, David.
Yeah, Mendoza says four to be tight end 4. Jeff kind of agrees with him also. I'm leaning towards Ford making this roster too. I don't know how they're going to do it, but what's going to really give him the edge over all these other tight ends is special teams. Now,
well, that's what I was about to say. Special teams. That's who always. Yeah. That's what wins you that number 4 role.
Yeah. Next week, I'm going to do a breakdown of the new kickoff and kickoff return rules, because the new rules are going to change the way special teams are being played by every team in NFL. And I hate to speak hyperbolic, but I think the new kickoff rules are going to change the way teams build the bottom of their rosters. Because the way the rules have changed, it makes it more advantageous to have guys who are more skilled and polished than just trying to get freak athletes and see what you can have. So a guy like a Brevin Spann-Ford, who has very strong blocking traits and can move well for his size, the new kickoff rules are going to make him invaluable. And I'll talk about that next week. One of my close friends, and if you guys followed the old podcast, my friend Coach Webb, he was one of Dan Quinn's interns for several years when he was in Atlanta and Seattle. He got a chance to come to Dallas one year. He's now a head coach at a junior college. And the kickoff rules for the NFL, they didn't trickle down to college, but they did trickle down to junior college. So my friend is a defense and special teams expert. So he's already done a full breakdown for his upcoming season on how he's going to change his kickoff philosophy. I'm going to try to get him on the show, but I
Nice.
think they start training camp next week also, so I may not be able to get him. So I'm going to try to find a way to sit down with him for an hour and just pick his brain and come back and bring you guys everything I get. And David Bain, yeah, the NFL and junior college did implement these from the XFL.
Jason Curtis, I did see that. Jason is the coach for Liberty High School out of Argyle, Texas, and he won a champion. His team won the championship there. They won the state championship. So yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, he's coaching his kids. Both of his kids have offers already.
Mhm.
One is a senior, or maybe he already graduated. The other one, I think, is a freshman. Both played varsity. Jason's coaching. He's really nice. You can go sit at the game. It's a private Christian school. Jason's really nice. I've met Jason at one of those games. So, yeah, he did really well. He turned that around. They weren't the best, and he took them to a championship, and they won. So,
yeah. Jeff Pop saying now that Moore is gone, we don't have to roll out the 3 tight ends 5 times a game. That's a good point.
yeah.
Mendoza saying, does Turpin finally return
Yes.
one? The way these rules look,
Yes.
Mendoza, I would be shocked if he doesn't have multiple.
I was thinking that when you brought up the rules, that's the first thing. Turpin is, and you know what? Just thinking about that, this is year 3 for Turpin too. So he's also in a contract year. I would be shocked if he didn't return one, because these rules are really, really, they're really beneficial to a returner.
Yeah.
100%. It's much easier now. I think I'm going to make a bold prediction and say at least 2 for a touchdown.
I would agree. Yeah. These rules are going to make it. And on top of that, the architect of the rules is our special teams coach. So he already has a leg up on most of the NFL on how to manipulate this best. Now, Jason Curtis saying he doesn't like the rule. I mean, I guess it's whether you like it a lot is here, but they did put the rules in place, and that's because they did want to bring kickoff and kickoff return back into the NFL.
Honestly,
they want to limit collisions.
Yeah, honestly, over the kickoff rule, the one that I don't like that they changed is the hip drop tackle. I understand why they did it, but I think that soon they're just going to have flags hanging off of them if they keep taking all the rules. I mean, it's a contact sport. I mean, come on. So,
okay. So we're at hour 15,
defense.
Amanda. You want to go to defense?
Let's do it. If you've got time, I got
time.
I got time too.
It's almost 10 o'clock here. I can go another 30, 45 minutes.
Let's see. At the same time here too. So
okay. So the views are still pretty consistent. So we'll keep it going. We haven't lost the crowd yet. If you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to bring them up. We are still doing a giveaway at the end of the show. So make sure you guys stick with us. It's going to be a great giveaway this week, and it's going to be based on a trivia question. Amanda, I still think you need to change that question.
Okay, let me look while you pull up the
note. Come up with a second question, and we'll see if nobody gets that one within the first 30 seconds to a minute. Then we'll ask another one.
Did you know that? Did you know that?
I had no clue.
I didn't either. Like, I learned something new tonight. And thank you, AI. That was AI's question.
David Bain says he can go another 3 hours. Going to the sun up. We don't do 3-hour shows here.
Not David at all.
To get a 2-hour show out of us is really going to be a shock to me. All right, so we're going to defensive side of the ball. Amanda, what position you want to start with first?
Let's see. The elephant in the room, defensive tackle. Let's just jump right on in, because that's where I think we're weakest. So yeah,
I agree 100%. So defensive tackle room, pretty light. You got your first round pick, Mozzie Smith. You got also Adiki-Zua. Then you got 3 big boys because Mike Zimmer's the new coach. So you got Carl Davis, you got the drafted player Justin Rogers, and then you got the undrafted player Denzel Daxon. Now, I think we keep a minimum of 4 here. As you guys know, last year, Chauncey Golston played defensive tackle. I did not put him in this group because I feel like with the changes in the defense, he's going to play more defensive end. I could be wrong. That's just my opinion. But if you guys want to put Chauncey Golston in this spot, you're more than welcome to have that conversation. But with losing two of our defensive ends from last year and not really backfilling the position, I think Golston goes back to his natural defensive end position. So looking at this list, I mean, I don't have a lot to say about the group as a whole in terms of who makes it and who doesn't. I don't think Daxon makes it. Undrafted guy. Jeff thinks Daxon's going to be the fourth guy. Jeff, let me know who you think doesn't make it if Daxon's your fourth guy.
Probably Carl Davis would be my guess. I kind of like Daxon too. But I really like Rodgers. But like Kevin just said, he's got a lot of learning to do. But I like Rodgers a lot.
I really, really like. I think Rodgers could be our day one starting defensive tackle. I think.
You think he could take it from Mozzie?
I think he's that good personally. From watching his games at Kentucky, I'm not going off the Auburn games because I don't know why he transferred. That was a bad move on his part. He got some bad advice. But if you go back and watch him at Kentucky, he looks like a day two draft pick type guy. And then when he went to Auburn, they had some terrible defensive tackle rotation. I think looking at the tape, I watched about 7 games. I think Auburn was trying to go with more of a penetrating scheme, and Justin Rogers is a true big 2-gap defensive tackle. I don't think he fit what Auburn wanted. But if you want a nose tackle who can set the point of attack and win one-on-one matchups when he gets them, I think Rodgers is that guy. I see a lot of people really like Daxon more than I like him. So somebody in the comments, let me know what you like so much about Daxon, because I'm curious. When I watch him, I see a good player, but I don't see a rookie who can make a roster. So I'm not saying he's a bad player. I just don't see him being good enough to be a first-year contributor. So Carl Davis is an interesting one. And Jeff, great point. As you guys know, veterans, when they get cut, they don't have to go through waivers. So if you need to make a roster spot, you could cut Carl Davis, let them know, hey, sit at home for 48 hours, don't answer the phone. And once we get our roster figured out, we'll put you on the practice squad and get you back up here. They could do that. But I just feel like, and I've been wrong about this before with Dan Quinn and his scheme, Zimmer likes big D tackles, and Carl Davis is probably our biggest D tackle right now since Mozzie hasn't gained any weight. So I think just because of the size and the experience factor, I think they find a way for Carl Davis to stay on this roster. That's just my opinion. And I could definitely be wrong. Denzel Daxon does have the look of an NFL defensive tackle. I just don't think he has the experience. Okay, that's a good question, Amanda. I think we should probably roll with that one first.
Okay.
Yeah, Mozzie's definitely going to be on the roster. I know people hate to hear that. Jeff Pop saying Mozzie could be out if Zimmer has a say. Now, Mike Zimmer is the type of if there's any coach who could get Mozzie put off the team, I could see it being Mike Zimmer. I just don't see it happening this year, though. If it was year 3, we could definitely have that conversation. But going into year 2, regardless of the weight issues or the lack of production, second-year players normally get a shot to stay on the team. And when you're a first-round pick and in year 2, you're pretty much untouchable, in my opinion. Mozzie needs to go hang out with Taco Charlton and both bust. I can't say I disagree with you there, Kevin Nichols, but year 2, I think he gets another chance.
Yeah, I don't look. I also think Mozzie is a bust. I don't really know like the whole weight loss thing. Dan Quinn is notorious for ruining defensive tackles. He doesn't value the position, therefore he doesn't really focus on it. And I really think that's where you see the failure. Osa did really well under in Dan Quinn's system, but Mozzie, I don't understand that. It's like Dan thought about leaving during the draft that year and was like, what's the worst thing I can do to him? Here, let's get this guy from Michigan. Sorry, that's
Yeah.
me.
So just looking at the pictures this offseason, it looks like Osa's probably up to about 285, 290 now. So that's going to be really
Yeah,
good for his
I saw
career.
he's finally gained that. He's gaining the weight back, and I hope it's a healthy weight and
Yeah.
not, just like eating Allsup's burritos or something.
Uh-huh.
Um, but we'll see. I mean, camp will be interesting. I really do think Rogers might take his job. So he's the
Okay.
right. He fits in Zimmer's system very well.
Yeah.
So.
So for all you guys saying Denzel Daxon, are you all kind of on the same page that you think Carl Davis will be the odd man out? Just curious. And not just like Jeff said, um, Mozzie's gonna be here
Yeah.
because of the draft position. And the new rules do allow a guy like Carl Davis to be cut and brought back if he wants to stay with the team. And as a guy who's mid-30s, never really been a um a productive starter, there's a strong chance if they did cut him, nobody would call him anyway. So yeah, definitely something to pay attention to. See, we got my guy Charlie joining us.
What's up, Charlie?
Charlie posted two videos. He doesn't go live much anymore, but he still puts out great content. So he's posted a couple of videos in the last couple of days. So be sure to go look him up. Find him on YouTube. Check out some of the videos he's made past couple of days. All right, so we went to defensive tackle. So I guess we'll just work our way from the front and go to the end.
All righty.
So we'll stay on the defensive line, and now we will look at the edge position. So if we keep 4, I would probably say at the defensive end position, we'll probably keep about 5. A lot of interesting names on here. Viliami Fehoko, Junior Fehoko, was early day 3 pick last year. Didn't touch the field none whatsoever. Tyrus Wheat was an undrafted guy, super athletic guy out of Texas. Made the roster last year. Got a couple of snaps last year also over Junior Fehoko. So that's a name you got to pay attention to. And then you also got Chauncey Golston, which, like I said before, I think he goes back to his natural defensive end position. You got your second round pick this year, Marshawn Nealon. You got your second round pick from 3 years ago in Sam Williams. And then you got undrafted guy Darrell Johnson. I feel like I'm missing somebody on the defensive end position. I feel like there's a defensive end that was undrafted out of Texas that I talked about, and I really no, Byron Vaughns. I forgot to put Byron Vaughns up here. So this is another high energy, high motor. They have him listed at linebacker, but he's gonna play defensive end in the NFL. Great pass rusher, kind of undersized. So that's another defensive end that you got to be aware of. But he's an undrafted guy, so for the sake of argument, let's just assume he's not going to come in and be a world beater and take anybody's spot. So we'll focus on these guys right here.
Well,
so of this group, Amanda, who do you kind of think might be an odd man out?
I don't think
two
Johnson
guys.
I think Wheat and Johnson or maybe even Fehoko and Johnson. But I think starting at the bottom because I look at your list and I was laughing, thinking to myself, did Marcus like put the ones that most likely are going to get cut first? I think your bottom four are pretty safe.
Uh-huh.
Marshawn Nealon, draft pick this year. He'll make the team. DeMarcus, he's not going anywhere probably till next year, and then I think he's out.
Yeah.
Sam Williams, my biggest thing, this is what, year 3 for Sam.
Year 3.
The biggest issue with Sam Williams is his off the field trouble. I've heard from one of our partners at DC Frill, I've heard that he's really, really trying to make a big name for himself this year. Barry, I was talking to Barry about it.
Yeah.
So I really think that Sam, I think he'll be here. Chauncey Golston, he's a, team regular rotational guy. I do expect him to stay.
Yeah.
So I don't know why Fiocco hadn't gotten any snaps. I haven't really figured that out.
Good question.
So maybe Zimmer will find a way to use him, but it's definitely one of the top 3 obviously are your 2 that are not going to make it. They're in that group. I think Wheat might stay. That would be my guess. Fiocco probably might find himself on the practice squad again. So,
yeah. And Jeff brings up a great question. Sam Williams' problems are not below the neck; it's between the ears.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at Tyrus Wheat. He did play in 5 games last year, the last 5 games of the year. So he was active for a couple of games when Junior Fehoko wasn't. So that's something you definitely got to pay attention to. Tyrus Wheat is one of those kids, long arms, short, compact body. So when you look at him, he doesn't really look like a prototypical defensive end. He's 6'2", which is short, by 265, but he has like a 6'6" wingspan. And he's an older player. So he already kind of came in understanding a little bit more of the nuances of the defensive pass rushing game. Now that's the total opposite of Sam Williams. And let me say this about Sam Williams. Follow Sam Williams since high school. I talked about my friend Coach Webb. Coach Webb was actually one of the defensive coordinators of the junior college that Sam Williams played for in Mississippi. And he told me about Sam Williams 5 years ago. One thing about Sam Williams is he's still extremely raw as a football player. He had never been in a weight room before he got to junior college. His first year, he was lost. His second year, he had 15 sacks. Goes to Ole Miss. His first year, he's lost. Second year, he's one of the leaders in the SEC in sacks. Comes to Dallas. NFL is a big jump, so it's going to take him 2 years. This is what my friend Coach Webb told me. It's going to take him 2 years to make that jump, but you won't find a more talented player than him. So let's hope this year it gets unlocked. We got the Mike Zimmer connection, so you can make those Everson Griffin comparisons between the Sam Williams, Everson Griffin. Both guys are height, weight, speed guys. Both of them had off the field problems. Everson Griffin under Mike Zimmer was a multiple time All-Pro. So you hope Mike Zimmer can possibly pull some of that Everson Griffin out of him and at least not make him Everson Griffin, but make him a quality rotation defensive end, because that's what we need right now.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Junior Fehoko, like I said, didn't touch the field at all. And to be quite frank, when I go back and watch, Junior Fehoko's college tape was better than Marshawn Nealon's tape. So that makes me, one, question why Fehoko didn't touch the field, and two, gives me concerns about how Marshawn Nealon will look in the NFL in his first year. And I know a lot of people are high on him. Jeff says he's not a bust. Kevin Nichols says he'll be a Pro Bowler. So we have two different ends of the spectrum right there. But it's definitely going to be a rotation of Nealon, Lawrence, and I didn't even put Micah Parsons in him here, but he's an edge now. Micah Parsons, Sam Williams. And I agree. Tyrus Wheat, he could make some noise. It's gonna be interesting. So that'll be 1, 2, 3. I don't think they may keep 6 ends actually. That's a possibility. If they do, Johnson will be the odd man out, and these 6 guys will kind of fight
Yeah.
for that, fight for positioning. Um, so let me ask you this question then, Amanda. So we all pretty much know Lawrence and Parsons are going to be your starters. How do you think the rotation is going to be with the other guys? Like, who do you think is going to be the first guy off the bench? Is it Nealon,
Man.
Williams, Golston?
Golston really has, I don't know. It really depends on how they excel in Zimmer's system.
Uh-huh.
You have to look at, the people who've been here have been playing in Zimmer's system. So, or not Zimmer, in Dan Quinn's system. So I really want to watch some film from camp. And the problem is we don't play our starters near enough. I'm all about putting them out there during the preseason. Let's see what we got.
Uh-huh.
But we don't do that. So I would guess, without seeing Nealon right now, I can't really bank on him being, your next rotational guy. So I would go Golston and then Williams. That would be my guess. And I really hope they keep Williams away from the gunner position. Thank goodness CJ Goodwin's back.
Yeah.
And dude makes boneheaded decisions. So I would think it would be Golston, then Williams would be your rotation. But, Nealon could come in, surprise the crap out of all of us, and then, we're in a better situation. I do not like what we have on the defensive side of the ball at the line right now. I think we're still weak there. It's just the way it is. We're really strong in the back end of your defense, and outside of your players like DeMarcus, Osa, and Micah, it's really a lot of question marks. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. And thank you for bringing it up, Kevin Nichols. I forgot Greg Ellis is a defensive end coach on this team. So got a lot of veteran presences, former high quality players on our defense as coaches. And I think Greg Ellis will definitely help a lot. I think a guy like a Sam Williams and a Marshawn Nealon are kind of in that Greg Ellis mold. So if those guys are open to coaches and coaching, I think Greg Ellis will have a great impact on them. Same with Junior Fehoko. All 3 of those guys are kind of in that Greg Ellis hybrid stand-up linebacker / defensive end type players. So now I guess we'll go over to the linebacker position. And when you look at linebacker, got a lot of names up here. I'm sure a lot of these names you guys don't know.
Really, 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 really excited for the first one on your list. Super excited about him. I cannot wait. I was super bummed when he got hurt last year. He is a fast-moving linebacker. He has got speed, and he really plays well. So I'm hopeful with Overshone, and he's got a lot to prove too. And he's a really, really good person. Like, I'm friends with him on Facebook, and just to see what he does for his community and stuff, I really have high hope, because he's a good person, and we need all that we can get in Dallas. So I really hope it translates from what we saw in college at UT. I hope we can see it translate on the field.
Yeah. So yeah, same with you. I'm really excited about Overshone. I'm trying to temper expectations because he hasn't played any real NFL football.
Yeah.
But height, weight, speed, athleticism, he has it all.
All there. Yeah.
Probably, looking at this list, probably the second, at worst, the third most athletic linebacker on this list. And I'll skip over a couple of guys because we got Jeff's question. Now, I did put Micah Parsons in with the linebackers when I technically should have put him in with the edges. So Jeff asked the question, do you think we'll regret not playing Parsons at linebacker? I'm assuming full time.
Eric Kendricks is the veteran with my biggest concern. Linebacker is an important position. They really call the plays, and you don't have anyone really with that experience. So Eric Kendricks is your guy. That's who's gonna be, commanding. I guess, is that how you would say it? Commanding, where people go, what they see. I like Micah when he rotates from linebacker to defensive end, but we all know pure well why Micah wanted to be an edge.
Yeah.
It all starts with dollar signs, just point blank the way it is. So I think they should rotate him, but I don't think that Zimmer will. He's going to be an edge just the way he is. I like having him as the ability to rotate him if we need it. I don't think Zimmer will do it.
The only reason I would want to see Micah Parsons at linebacker is if Mike Zimmer does a lot of those double A gap blitzes that he did in Minnesota. Outside of that, he needs to be at the end position. And like Charlie said, you don't take your best edge and play him at linebacker. Linebacker is the running back of the offense, and if you follow Charlie, you know how he feels about running backs, and they are definitely dependent on what's in front of them. Now, I put him in the linebacker spot because I was going by the Cowboys depth chart, but like I said before, I consider Micah Parsons a full-time end at this point.
Yeah.
So, so now let's go back up through the list. We'll go back up to the top. So Willie Harvey is a name a lot of people may not know, but Willie Harvey is the XFL guy that we signed. Yeah. I'm trying to think of who he reminds me of. The linebacker escapes me. Shoot. Veteran linebacker from the Chargers. His name will pop up to me at some point. But he's one of those small, stocky linebackers, one of those high motor guys, great at getting tackles for loss.
Bosa?
He's going to be no. It's middle linebacker. I want to say London Fletcher, but that's way too old. There's a linebacker in the past 5 years who I really liked.
There's Junior Colson.
No, that's the draft this year.
Okay, I don't know the Chargers to save my butt.
I'll look it up, and the name will pop up in a minute. I know it will. But Willie Harvey's one of those guys. He kind of bounced around the league a little bit. Personally, I think he didn't make it because of politics. Cleveland has a lot of great young linebackers, and he just got kind of pushed out of the rotation. No, not Junior Seau. It's not one of those like Hall of Fame type guys. The name will pop in my head, and I'll think of it in a second. But Willie Harvey's a veteran guy. We're gonna have some openings at the linebacker position, so that's a name I want you guys to just kind of keep in the back of your heads. So I think this will be the first year we keep 5 or 6 linebackers. Normally we only keep 4, so I think this year we kind of extend that. Thank you, Jeff. Denzel Perryman. That's the name I was trying to think of. I knew it would be Jeff Mendoza that gave me the name. But yeah, when I look at Willie Harvey, I think of Denzel Perryman, just one of those short, stocky, physical, hair on fire, veteran linebackers. So if we keep 5, we know Overshown's a lock. Eric Kendricks is your quarterback, so he's a lock. Leofau is your draft pick. He's a lock. So that's 3. Damone Clark, more than likely going to be 4.
Yeah.
Looking at the list, Jason, I will probably cancel out Buddy Johnson. I was just about to talk about Damian Wilson. Kevin Nichols said his thoughts. Damian Wilson is a career special teamer, but he's really good at it. He's more of if he plays defense, he's pretty much a Sam linebacker, which the position is extinct in the NFL. So if he makes this roster, it's 100% as special teams. So when I look at this list, I'm thinking it's between Harvey, Wilson, and Brock Mogensen, because Mogensen was an undrafted guy, but he's a true Mike linebacker. And if you look at the list right now, Eric Kendricks is the only Mike linebacker, the only true Mike linebacker on the list. I think Leofau can call the defense, but we haven't really seen it yet. Overshown never did it.
No.
And Willie Harvey, I'm not familiar enough with his career to know if he did it or not. But as of right now, we only have one guy. I think Harvey may have called some defense in his past. So, do you think if it's Kendricks, Leofow, Overshown, and Clark, between Harvey, Wilson, and the rookie, which one do you think has a better chance of making the team?
Probably Harvey, just because I look at the history. He was MVP for the XFL, right?
Defensive.
I think he was, because I remember they were comparing how we took Turbin, which was the MVP when we drafted him from that league. So we also signed Willie Harvey because they had to wait till it ended before, of course, for the season, the XFL to end before we could sign him. So I think Harvey will make it. I look at the list and that would be my guess, but Mogensen's very intriguing to me. So
to me, it will come down to whether or not Willie Harvey is a Mike linebacker and can actually call the defense. And I keep talking about special teams. Damian Wilson will probably step. Damian Wilson's gonna most definitely be our best special teamer at linebacker.
Yeah.
Special teams will always get you a roster spot, and he has some familiarity with the team. That's gonna be one of those matchups to pay attention to. So I just want you guys to know, pay attention. Brock Mogensen, he's going to probably be that second unit Mike linebacker. Pay attention to how he performs. Willie Harvey, pay attention to him on special teams. See how he plays in the run game. And then Damian Wilson is just going to be a pure special teams guy, in my opinion. So watch those three guys to see who could possibly make a run for that fifth linebacker spot, or if two of those guys play well enough to make us keep six linebackers. Because I think we haven't kept six linebackers in a very long time.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a long time because we've been rotating safeties in and out, or we would go thin but have a lot of veterans. So I'm interested in what happens at this linebacker spot with those last one or two. But the guy I'm looking forward to seeing Leofow more than Overshown.
Yeah?
Yeah, I really, really, really like Leofow. and I'm curious to see if he can play Mike, because he did a little bit of calling the plays in college. So I'm interested to see if that will translate full time. Should I delete that comment?
I blocked them. Yeah, go ahead and delete it. Sorry. That's what I didn't mean to show it. I was trying to block it. It's so funny how you can report these people to Facebook over and over again and they never go away. Nobody messaged that, obviously.
Yeah, Kevin Nichols says Leofold has that fire Zimmer likes. I agree. Yeah, but thank you for that, Jeff and Mendoza. Denzel Perryman, that's the guy I'm thinking about when I look at Willie Harvey. And Jason Curtis, I didn't watch XFL that much either. I remember the name because he was one of those guys that I liked coming out of college because he reminded me of Denzel Perryman, but he never really got a shot because I think he got injured. And then by the time he was able to get some runs, that's when they drafted Joker. And he wasn't touching the field over Joker.
Yeah.
All right, so hour 44, down to our last position. Woo. Our last, we're going to go ahead. Let's see, should we combine these two? No, we'll do them separate. So we'll start off first with the safety position. And then I think corner will have a little bit more discussion. And don't forget, we're going to do a giveaway. So be sure to stick with us for the next 15 to 20 minutes. Now, I'll preface this by saying I have no clue who's playing where at about 5 positions. I think these are all the safeties. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 7 safeties. History suggests we only keep 4 to 5.
Yeah.
And I think because corner is so loaded, and we may keep an extra linebacker, this number may be closer to 4. So I think the starters are Wilson and Hooker just because of contracts.
Yeah.
So those 2 spots are gone. And when we get to corner position, we'll probably have to double back to safety. So it seems like Wanye Thomas has been a preseason fan favorite.
Yeah.
So we're going to keep him there.
And
then
Bell.
Marquise Bell, didn't see him a lot at safety, came in and played extremely well at linebacker. I think he'll get the first shot at safety as a backup. I really, really like Julius Wood and Imani Johnson, 2 undrafted guys. I don't think they'll do enough to push for a spot, but I will say one of those 2 could surprise people. Julius Woods and Imani Johnson. So pay attention to both of those guys. And Sheldrick Redwine is just one of those guys who's just kind of stuck around. He'll probably be a practice squad guy.
Yeah.
So I think those 4 are pretty much set. So Jeff, Hooker, Wilson, Bell, Thomas, Charlie, same thing.
That's where I'm at too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think those 4 are pretty obvious. Yeah.
My favorite position, though, I think that's going to have the most competition defensively is coming up. So
yep.
I'm excited for the cornerback position. Really excited about it.
But I just want to say again, Julius Wood and Imani Johnson are both 2 extremely talented safeties. Pay close attention to them in preseason, because one of those guys is going to make some plays that's going to get the fan base on their side. So let's go to the last position. And it's a pretty deep position. This is the cornerback position. We got 10 guys. At the most, we keep 6. And some of these guys may be considered safeties. So we'll start on the left side. I'll go through all of them really quick. And then while I do that, guys, let me know who you think's kind of the odd man or men out. Amanda, same for you. You got Eric Scott going into his 2nd year, 5th round pick, I believe. Dan Quinn guy. When you want a height, weight, speed guy, this is what you're looking for. His athletic traits are very similar to Deron Bland's. That's one of the reasons why he was drafted so high. Has good ball skills. Didn't get to show him off last year. Deron Bland is a lock. Don't need to have to say anything else. Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Nashawn Wright is going into his 4th year. So that's kind of the year where is make or break. They can cut you now. You don't have that draft pick cachet. Now you're just a veteran on a team.
I'm pretty sure Wright's gone.
You got to earn a spot.
Yeah. Bye.
Yeah. Gary and Conley, 1st round pick. And if you guys watched the show in February, before we picked up Conley, I told you guys that Mike Zimmer loves 1st round pick corners.
Yeah.
If you go back to Minnesota, he would always load up on old 1st round picks, or he would draft corners extremely high, even though he had corners. Gary and Conley's former 1st round pick didn't work out in Oakland, played in the XFL last year. He's on the roster now. Diggs is a lock, former Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Mukwamu, going into year 3. Is this year 3 or year 4?
3.
This
right?
is year 3?
Pretty sure it's 3. Yeah.
Let me just take a look really quick.
I think he was drafted in 2021.
Okay.
But it could have been 2020, but I'm pretty sure it's 2021.
Yep, 21. So he's going into. So this will be year 4 then, right?
Hold on. Well, was he drafted?
21, 22, 23.
Yep, it is year 4, right?
So this is year 4 for Mukwamu. So draft pick no longer means anything. Now he's just a veteran trying to make a roster. CJ Goodwin.
He ain't going nowhere.
Best special teamer. Definitely not going anywhere. most important position on special teams, gunner jammer. Kalen Carson, for, draft pick this
Yeah.
year. Jordan Lewis is our starting nickel. Josh DeBerry's undrafted. So just going through the list, and I see people starting to put it up there.
Hmm.
Rachel Nen saying interested in how Diggs and Bland do.
I'm really concerned. I know I love Trevon Diggs, but here's the thing. ACLs look at what just happened with Michael Gallup. Look, I'm not corners. You can compare a corner and a wide receiver for the most part because they're both one's making sure the wide receiver doesn't catch it. They got to have the speed, the agility. It's all, similar skill set to what they need to do. And Trevon was a wide receiver for Nick Saban. So I just want to say this. I'm really concerned on how he does. And I really didn't expect him to be on the PUP list. I really thought that he was going to start camp off of it. But right now he is on the physically unable to perform list.
Mm-hmm.
So we are going to have to we're going to see that also, just much like CD not being at camp right now with the holdout, will give someone an opportunity to step up. So I want to see Trevon Diggs and Deron Bland on the field at the same time. I think it's going to be really good if Diggs comes back to the way he was.
Yeah.
So I think Nashawn Wright, and I know a lot of you aren't about. I told Marcus y'all aren't going to like what is about to come out of my mouth. I think Wright and Izzy are most likely your odd men out on this list because you look at So Kalen Carson, I'm actually really excited about too. I think he's a wonderful draft pick. I think he's going to take one of their jobs. Eric Scott Jr., also someone I'm really excited about seeing. ACL last year, right? Or no?
No, I think he just couldn't touch the field.
John Stevens Jr. who had the ACL, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I knew one of the juniors had an So Eric Scott, I think, has a really good opportunity too. But I think Izzy and Nashawn are both either a trade bait to someone who really likes their skill set in particular, which would be, of course, Washington. But I don't think they're going to be on the team. Maybe practice squad. Eric wasn't injured, right? He just didn't play.
I'm almost certain he was not injured. Yeah. So, just looking at and going through this list, I see a lot of people just saying some of these guys are locks. Looking forward to it. Mendoza says Carson is his Lewis replacement next year. So let's do this, Amanda. We're keeping 6 guys. Now, some people say we're going to do Goodwin with the veteran cut. I don't know if we do that again this year.
I don't think you can cut. Look, everybody knows how good CJ Goodwin is. I wouldn't risk it. It's kind of like last year we used Aubrey. You can't do that this year. Everybody knows what Aubrey is. You got to have him on your roster. So there's going to have to be some people. I think a Chuma Adoga would be a more veteran cut to, hold on, I'll bring you back. Just give me a second. I think he's more of your option. I don't think you can cut a Goodwin because I think somebody and Washington could offer quite a bit of money that maybe you wouldn't want to cut him for. I just don't think Goodwin can be your vet cut.
Yeah, I think we'll cut every running back except the top 2 before we cut Goodwin because we could literally cut all but 2 running backs and probably still have our choice of all of them once waivers clear. All right, so let's do this. Diggs is a lock. Lewis is a lock. Bland is a lock. Carson's is a lock. That's 4. Who are your other 2?
Goodwin and Scott. Goodwin and Scott Jr. I think those would be my 2. Josh DeBerry, Nashawn Wright, Izzy, all out the door. Bye-bye. Okay. See you next time.
And let me know what you guys think. I know I love Izzy. One of my favorite DBs coming out of college.
I like Izzy too. Yeah.
When we look at this type of stuff, we have to look at it from front office standpoint. He's in year 4. We haven't gotten much out of him. We're still you don't go off potential when you're talking about a 4th year player. At that point, You either got to crap or get off the pot. Like you got to give us something, or you got to get flushed. And Izzy's kind of in that spot now. We got a bunch of young, talented guys coming in, and potential from a first year guy is always going to be potential in a fourth year guy. And that is going to kind of be the difference between an Eric Scott and an Izzy. So, do you think there's a chance Izzy makes the roster because he can be a hybrid corner safety and you maybe go short somewhere else to hold him as your fifth safety slash seventh corner? Do you
I
go?
don't think so. So
Yeah. So if, and we'll have this conversation in a month, but let's say at the linebacker spot, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say you have to choose between Brock Mogensen, undrafted rookie linebacker who's a true Mike, or Israel Mukwamu. Which direction do you think they would go?
in Zimmer's system,
Uh-huh.
linebacker.
I think they would go linebacker also because Mogensen would have the potential to be a future starter as a Mike.
Yeah.
Um, I'm trying to think of linebackers really the only position I could think of on defense that you would go short to hold a spot for him. And I'm not saying this because I want to get rid of Izzy. I'm just saying this as we're brainstorming now. We're trying to think of who legitimately is going to have a shot if nobody gets injured to make this team, and who's going to be a cut that the fans don't like. And let me go back one more person, Gary and Conley. I don't think we're talking enough about him right now. And Kevin Nichols says Al Harris is calling Jones. He wants him back. Jeff saying go short at tight end. I would say that, Jeff, but teams normally don't go long on one side of the ball and go short on the other. That's my only concern.
Yeah.
Like we can cut a bunch of running backs because we know we're going to get them back, but I don't think you can cut a tight end with the expectation they'll return. If you cut a tight end, he's gone. So I don't think they would do the tight end position. And I'm already kind of thinking they may go short at running back to fit that third quarterback that we don't normally keep, or keep that 10th, 11th offensive lineman because they're all so important. But I just want to put this out there. Gary and Conley, former first round pick. He was with the Raiders, who have been notoriously bad at not only drafting but ruining players. He did go to Houston. He had a good year. Houston got a new defensive coordinator, so he kind of got pushed out due to politics. Had a decent year in the UFL last year, and now he's getting another shot. And like I said before, Mike Zimmer loves former first-round picks at corner. So you always got to keep that in mind. Conley has potential, but has it been potential? I agree, but defensive coordinator loves early first-round picks. I mean, he'll bring a guy back who's 34 because he was a former first-round pick, just because that's just how he operates. And I'm shocked he didn't bring back Patrick Peterson, because I said that earlier in the offseason too.
Yeah, I was too. I expected him to be here.
And I see people keep saying we can still sign Gilmore. That's an option, but I don't think he's going to come back for the money that we're going to pay, because Gilmore's going to want at least $8 million. And if they're not signing guys on this team to contracts, I don't see them paying $8 million for what would probably be your fourth corner at best. So definitely something to pay attention to. All right, so that's pretty much all we got. See if we got any other questions or comments in here. Jeff said, "Cause Schoonmaker, nobody would miss him."
I still say if we're going to move that way, send him off to, the Chargers. Even a fifth, sixth round pick, heck, I'd do it.
Yeah.
Get some value.
So, before we go, Amanda, you've brought that up a couple times. Who are 3 guys on the team currently that you think could possibly be off-season trades? Schoonmaker is definitely one of them.
Schoon.
Any more?
Sam Williams.
Okay, Sam Williams.
I don't know.
I would probably put an offensive lineman in there. I don't know which one.
I was sitting there thinking, let's go. Let's go. Whatever. Well, let's go. Yeah. I mean, he's got that.
Could you see a Izzy being traded or a Wanye Thomas?
I think Wanye. I think we should have already called Dan Quinn 2 months ago and said, "Hey, come tell us who you want. Here's the players that you can't have. Choose who you want." I don't understand why we didn't do that. They had the money in the draft capital. Jerry, again, in his ego, refused to do it because Dan Quinn, he drafted players he loved, players that don't fit Zimmer system. That would have been the easiest.
You're trying to say Zimmer scheme?
Yeah, Zimmer scheme. Skimmer. Yeah. Maybe I want to go swimming. I don't know. It's been one of those days. But I do think there are several players that I like Sam Williams, but again, he's a Dan Quinn protege. Could easily be someone that's on the chopping block. If you want to go crazy and they want to give you 2 first rounds, a second, a third, and a fourth, you could probably send Micah on a little trip.
If he went to the Commanders, it would cost more than that. It would have to.
A lot, just because it's in the division. I'd want Micah to an AFC team. I wouldn't want to face him really until maybe the Super Bowl. But no, that's who I would think. Izzy, I could see him being trade bait. He's got the skill set, just isn't really being utilized. But yeah, that would be where I'm at. Is Schoon, Trey Lance. No one wants him. That's the issue. That's why the 49ers gave us, why we got him for what we did. So that would be Schoonmaker, Izzy, maybe with Let's Go. I don't know. I'm trying to think of the best because offensive line we're really deep at, and here in the middle of the season, someone might get hurt and need a player. So we'll see. I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah, I would pay close attention to the secondary because we got a lot of guys who are similar.
Yeah.
Wanye Thomas, Marquise Bell.
I think Wanye would have. I'm surprised no one actually called. He really kind of shown some bright spots.
Yeah.
I don't know how he'll do moving back to his true position.
The only issue I have with seeing one of those guys being traded is you have J-Ron Kearse is still a free agent, and he's basically a veteran version of all of those guys. So why would anybody call us to trade for one of them when they can get him for free? That's my only pushback on why I think one of those guys wouldn't get traded.
I'm still shocked he's a free agent. I would have expected at least Dan Quinn to pick him up. But then again, what is that? The coaching tree. What that coaching tree that he kind of hails from, the Dan Quinn.
Gus. What's the guy's name from Seattle?
Bradley.
Gus Bradley.
No, yeah, Gus Bradley. You would think that he would have kind of been, but no one took him. So there's something up there. Jordan Lewis came out and said the only reason he stayed here was because it was home. So because apparently Dan Quinn was really, really heavy trying to get him to come to Washington.
Yeah. All right, guys, that's pretty much all we have. The views stayed pretty consistent, even though we went over 2 hours. So appreciate that. Had a lot of people commenting. So Jason Curtis, Kevin Nichols, look like new names, but you guys were really active tonight. So thank you for joining us. I hope you continue to join us throughout the rest of preseason and as well as the regular season. As always, got our regulars in the building: Charlie, Rachel, Mendoza, Jeff. Thank you guys also. And Jeff, because you thought that the random drawings were rigged, we are doing something different this week. So it is now giveaway time.
Woohoo!
And before we do the giveaway, we want to shout out one of our sponsors for DC4L. So SeatGeek is an official sponsor. If you use DC4L code, you will get $20 off your first purchase for any sport. So not just football. So if you guys are looking to buy tickets this off season or for the regular season, use code DC4L at SeatGeek for $20 off. And we will go into our giveaway. First, let me give you guys the giveaway rules. So in order to be a part of the giveaway, if you win, you have to contact Amanda within 72 hours. We do ask that you are a Cowboys fan because most of our gifts will be Cowboys related. We do ask that you go and follow the DC4L group and also find DC4L and Bluff City Cowboys on YouTube. And I see you guys have done this. You have to give Facebook permission so that we can see your name. So the rules are very simple. Contact Amanda, be a Cowboys fan, like and follow, and give Facebook your permission. So with that being said, Amanda, do you want to let the people know what the giveaway is for tonight?
Okay. And I was sitting here thinking about it. Y'all been awesome. And I know it's kind of right now it's that slow time. So I'm going to do 2 gifts.
Oh,
I
two
was
gifts.
only going to do 1. So I'm going to do 2. And it'll be in the same box. And it is a really cool Cowboys.
Oh, you're doing 2 gifts for one person. I thought
one
you were gonna do
person. Yeah, I'm going to make it special. I should make you ask them the really hard question just so that I'm kidding. We're going to do 2. So it'll be a Cowboys Jenga set, which is great. It's wonderful for your man cave. You know, your kids can play with it, kind of take it anywhere and represent the Cowboys. Second's going to be a special bonus prize. I've got a whole box of stuff upstairs that I've been getting ready for the 5th quarter for the season, so Marcus can be annoyed by me more. And so I'm going to throw in a special prize too. And we are getting our sponsors back I've already talked to a few that are going to be sponsoring a show each week so that we can have some really awesome prizes for y'all.
So, I mean, whoever wins is going to do a Google search anyway. So it's really pretty much based on who can Google the fastest.
Who's going to Google the fastest?
So we can go ahead and ask the original question because I thought it was a really good one.
Okay.
Let me see. Well, I have to type it in. So I'm going to type the question in so people can't say they didn't hear it.
Okay.
So give me 1 second. So make sure you guys are ready. If you haven't done so already, you got a few seconds to go and like the DC4L page and also go and hit that subscribe button on YouTube. So the trivia question is, what's the second prize? I missed it. I know the first prize said was it the Jenga set?
The Jenga set, yeah.
And what's the second one?
Mystery. It's a mystery prize.
So it's a
could
mystery
be autographed,
prize,
could not be autographed. It really depends on what comes out of the giant stash of prizes that Amanda has accumulated.
Okay, hold on a second. Okay. I got to delete one of these things. Hold on a second. Okay. So, Cowboys trivia question for today for the Jenga set and the mystery prize. What was the Dallas Cowboys' original name? First person that puts it in the comments and we see it will be the winner. What was the original name of the Dallas Cowboys? I'll give it 30 seconds. Nope. Good guess. Good guess, but no. It's not the Texans. It's not the Rangers.
The Rangers was the second name.
Rangers was the second name. So you guys are really close. Everybody's still putting the Rangers and the Texans, and both of those answers are incorrect. What was the first known name of the Dallas Cowboys. And Mendoza with
Mendoza
the
got it.
fast Google fingers, it was the Dallas Steers. Dallas Steers was the first known name of the Cowboys. The second name was the Dallas Rangers.
Yeah.
So congrats, Mendoza. I think
Send
you're
me a
2 weeks.
message.
I think you're 2 weeks in a row. So
Yeah.
make sure you hit Amanda up.
Gotta
Um,
message me.
yeah, you got to hit up Amanda, get that prize. So that's pretty much all we got. Do you have it with you, Amanda? I would love to see what it looks like.
No, it's upstairs. I didn't get it.
Okay,
You can pull it up on Amazon if you
because
want.
I
Like
was
it's
hoping nobody got it, so I can hit you up for it later.
I got it on. I'm not gonna lie. I got it on Amazon.
Okay.
It's one of those cool things I've grabbed.
All
So
right.
we
So
do real quick, just so you know. Okay, if you don't mind, can I do a quick housekeeping real
go
quick?
ahead.
We have given away 2 sets of Cowboys tickets so far to the game in LA and the game in Vegas. Y'all, no one's entering to win these tickets. We now have the third giveaway for the third preseason game, a set of tickets to the Arlington game. Please go enter, y'all. Y'all got to go enter. All you got to do is post a selfie. Tell us why you want to win. We're gonna pick from. We're gonna pick at random. The team's gonna kind of work together to pick. No admin can enter, so it's fair. We're very, very fair. Um, let's see. And I've been called a scammer like 5 times trying to give away free tickets to this game.
Mm-hmm.
They're completely real. Like you can go search my name. We also have fantasy football leagues. Very, very, very limited spots right now. We have spots in the $250 league. You get a signed triplets helmet, authentic helmet. That's Emmett Smith, Michael Irvin, and Troy Aikman, all on one helmet, and then 1,000 cash. There is a $100 league that is 500 cash, and then a signed authentic helmet. Which I'm not gonna lie, I've been finding some really awesome prizes. And if you're a beginner and want to play, there's a $10 league. Jeff plays in our leagues every year. So does Marcus.
Yeah.
Awesome leagues. Y'all come check it out. I think Marcus is going to do a show, League 2
Mm-hmm.
maybe for the 5th quarter. So
yeah, I think Jeff won. I think Jeff won a league and got a helmet
oh, did he?
a couple
Jeff,
years
did
ago.
you win?
Yeah.
Oh, he probably did. Like I think
Yeah.
he did actually. But our prizes are top tier. We do a lot of stuff. Second, if you play and you don't win, but you get second place, you get to play for revenge next year for free.
Mm-hmm.
It's all included. So y'all hit me up if you want to play the fantasy leagues. Take a spot. It's all good to go. We've been doing them 6 years. Awesome stuff. And make sure you follow Marcus so I can give away a full size helmet.
Yeah.
Please get Marcus to 1,000 subs so we can give it away.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Of course.
So, I normally do my own fantasy league just to interact with the fans. So, we're gonna do our league again this year. There's no entry. I will be giving away $100 to the winner. So we're gonna do 10 people. I think it's pretty much halfway full right now. Got a couple of guys who are regular watchers and commenters already in the league. So if you'd like to be a part of my fantasy league, just send me a comment. Let me know. We'll probably do the draft mid-August. Normally when I do my draft, we do it live on the show. So if you guys want to get some camera time also, you can come join us. I typically try to do it either the day of the open live practice or the third preseason game, and we just kind of sit and watch the game on the side, talk about what we see, and do some fantasy drafting. So if you want to join, just send me a comment after the fact. Kevin Nichols says he has 13 teams. I have 12, so I understand your pain, Kevin.
Kevin, come jump in ours too, man.
Yeah.
Come play a DC for L League. You won't regret it.
Mendoza's, you've been in my league for the past 3 years, so you know you already have a spot. Jeff's already in also. Charlie is joining, and got a couple other people. So we have 5 more spots left. Kevin Nichols, please send me a comment so that I can get you in the league also. It's a lot of talented players in the league, so it's not going to be easy. And I also have my former co-host Lambo in the league also, so it's very competitive. A lot of knowledgeable football guys. So if you don't know a lot about football, just being in the chat, you're going to learn a lot about football and just the game in general. So definitely going to be fun to play. Again, Kevin Nichols, just send me a comment after the show, And once I get that link up for the league, I'll send it to you. But in the meantime, Stephen White, if you've never played fantasy, you do not need to get in this league because
I've got a $10 league
yeah,
that's super, like, signed memorabilia is the prize. So you're welcome to send me a message and I can explain it all to you. Andrew is one of our awesome moderators and he runs that league. Just let me know. Hit me up. It's a pretty simple, like, that's the starter league we have.
yeah.
So
If you've never played fantasy, definitely go hit up Amanda. And if you're a veteran and you want some bragging rights and you want to win some great prizes and money, also go see Amanda. But definitely you can't go wrong no matter what tier you go with within the DC4L fantasy groups. But if you're a regular on the show, I do like to interact with the fans because you guys fuel the show. So I definitely want to get a couple of you guys in the fantasy league just so we can go back and forth a little bit. Kevin Nichols says hopefully trades happen in the league. We're pretty open to trading in our leagues, Kevin. We don't do stupid trades, so you don't have to worry about that. But yeah, definitely. All right, so that's pretty much all we got. 2 hours and 15 minutes. We're gonna get out of here just before 11 o'clock. Views dropped a little bit, but they've been pretty consistent all night. So thank you guys for all of your support. Thank you for listening to us ramble for 2 hours. We hope it was informative. We hope it was entertaining. And we hope that we'll see you next Wednesday at 8:30 Central Standard Time for the next episode of the Fifth Quarter Podcast. At that point, we will be into training camp, so we'll have some actual football talk to go over. And I'll also give you guys a little bit of a breakdown of the new kickoff return rules and how I think it'll affect the players that we keep on the roster and how effective I think it'll be for putting Bones Fossil back on the map as one of the best special teams coaches in the league. So be sure to join us next week for that. Got a lot of great shows coming up. Got a couple of guests lined up for the offseason, thanks to Amanda. So we got a couple of people who are going to be at training camp who are going to come on the show and give us their thoughts. And then we'll probably have a couple of other people as well just coming and talking some general Cowboys football. So a lot of great stuff coming from the Fifth Quarter Podcast. And, of course, you'll definitely see Amanda again at some point this offseason as well. All right, so thank you, guys. Amanda, any closing thoughts before we get out of here?
I just want to thank everyone for joining. And as always, Marcus, thank you for doing this. You keep it steady every time. And I will see y'all again very soon.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us tonight. Go get some sleep, and we'll see you next Wednesday, 8:30 Central Standard Time for the next episode of the Cowboys Zone. Fifth Quarter Podcast. I haven't done it in a year. I finally got it out. Fifth Quarter Podcast. Thank you guys for watching.